It's 2002. Deep inside a fortress-like building in Pyongyang, American inspectors discover something chilling: signs of uranium enrichment hidden right under their noses. The Clinton administration's agreed framework is crumbling. The possibility of North Korea getting the bomb isn't just a threat, it's becoming an inevitability. But how did this quiet, secretive regime slip so far from diplomacy's grasp? Let's unravel the real story behind the failed talks that reshaped East Asia's nuclear risks. The agreed framework was supposed to freeze North Korea's nuclear ambitions, but then came the 2002 bombshell. Everything started to unravel, revealing deep flaws in trust and intelligence. In October 2002, U.S. officials confronted North Korean representatives with evidence of a secret uranium enrichment program, a stark betrayal. This revelation shattered the agreed framework, a deal painstakingly crafted to halt Pyongyang's plutonium-based weapons program. That this was discovered so late revealed cracks in intelligence sharing that left negotiators scrambling and trust evaporating overnight. Diplomacy is like walking a tightrope over a canyon filled with suspicion. Each step, the sharing of intel, the verification of compliance, must be absolutely precise. But when even small doubts creep in, it's like a gust of wind knocking balance off, causing talks to falter. Here, mutual suspicion acted like a storm, turning cautious trust into full-blown paranoia. North Korea's subtle moves to hide enrichment weren't just technical tricks, they were loud signals missed by the U.S. and its partners. This failure to read between the lines meant the window for disarmament closed silently, as Washington persisted in a playbook stuck in the 90s. The lesson: in diplomacy, what you don't see can cost you everything. Then came the six-party talks, an ambitious effort with 6 countries trying to tame Kim Jong-il's nuclear ambitions. But having all the players in one room didn't solve the fundamental problems. China's role as both mediator and North Korea's closest ally made it a wild card. Protecting regional stability while avoiding alienation, Beijing walked a fine line, sometimes pushing Pyongyang to disarm, sometimes shielding it from harsh consequences. This dual role muddied the waters, as China's priorities didn't always align cleanly with US and South Korean goals. Imagine 6 musicians trying to play a complex symphony without ever agreeing on the score. Each country, Russia, Japan, South and North Korea, the US, and China, came with its own tune: territorial claims, historic grievances, security fears. These competing interests created gridlock. One country's gain often felt like another's loss, freezing real progress under layers of suspicion. Even when agreements were reached on paper, the talks lacked real teeth. Without a permanent enforcement mechanism in Northeast Asia, promises became fragile. North Korea often backtracked or delayed, knowing concrete consequences were minimal. This absence of accountability turned diplomatic victories into temporary pauses, not solutions. Looking back, the failure to contain North Korea's nuclear program wasn't just bad luck. It exposed deep flaws in U.S. foreign policy and opened painful questions about managing global threats. The Bush administration's hardline posture, believing in quick, decisive regime change or forced compliance, clashed with the complex reality on the ground. Clinging to rigid Cold War-era frameworks slowed adaptation, closing doors on creative diplomatic options. This inflexibility permitted North Korea to exploit gaps and blame U.S. inconsistency for its hardened stance. Pritchard argues for establishing a formal, ongoing security forum in Northeast Asia, not just ad hoc talks. This would create a dedicated space for dialogue, transparency, and crisis management. Think of it like building a fire station in a forest prone to wildfires. Better to have a permanent guard than repeated emergency scrambles. Every misstep in negotiating with Pyongyang was a lesson in humility for U.S. diplomacy. Overconfidence, misunderstanding cultures, underestimating opponents, these led to missed openings. The payoff? A clearer understanding that controlling nuclear proliferation demands patience, flexibility, and above all, listening. The tragedy is that it took failure to illuminate these truths. Remember that tense 2002 moment, the discovery of uranium under Pyongyang's nose. It wasn't just a surprise, it was a symptom of a broken approach. That failure haunts Northeast Asia today. The big takeaway: diplomacy isn't a one-shot deal. Try this: next time you face a tough conversation, lean in with open curiosity and keep showing up. Because dialogue, messy as it is, beats silence every time. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.